Hey there, I'm Isaac, and this is World Music Wednesday. Welcome to World Music Wednesday, a new series where we take music from around the world and we adapt them for our own video game compositions. Today, to kick it off, we'll be looking at Caribbean music, breaking down the elements like rhythm, melody, harmony, and using that to inspire a video game soundtrack. Today, I'm going to share one of my songs with you that is inspired by that style, break it down step by step, and by the end of the video, you'll be able to do the same thing and write your own Caribbean-inspired songs. As we move forward in this video, there are two music theory concepts that will help you understand this better. Those would be the major scale and syncopation. One of those is linked below this video for you to check out at your convenience, and I will show you what syncopation is later in this video. So, if you're ready, let's get started. Okay, I've gone ahead and pre-arranged the piece and the style we're exploring today, and I wanted to break it down and show you step by step how I got there. One of the things that we have talked about a little bit briefly is instrumentation, because if you're wanting to recreate a style, you want to make sure that the instruments you're using reflect that style accurately. So, below this video, I have included a list of some instruments you can use, and you certainly do have some creative license with those. If you're writing for a different style, or maybe you're doing a fusion project, this is a good toolkit to have in your arsenal in case you want to embark on one of those projects later on. I've gone ahead and picked 6 to 8 instruments, most of them percussion, and we'll see what the result is at the end. So, we're going to start with our percussion section. I have chosen a clave, a conga, a shakeré, and a cajon. And when we're writing for percussion, we do want that ensemble feel with our percussion. We want all those instruments to feel like they're having a conversation with one another. Now, how do we get that nice groovy sound? Well, through a concept called syncopation. What is syncopation? Simply put, it is emphasis on the offbeat or the upbeat of music. What is the upbeat? What is the offbeat? Well, if I'm listening to music and I hear clicks, each click falls right on the beat, and that's called the downbeat. Now, what falls in between those beats is called the upbeat. So it's the space. 1 and 2. 1 and 2. If I'm counting 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, everywhere I said and will be considered the upbeat. So that's where we're going to be filling our sounds with this style of music using percussion. So some examples of syncopation might include something like this. I might do 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. I might also do another creative rhythm. So might sound like this. 1 and 2, 3. But whatever I do, I want to feature at least 1 or 2 sounds in that upbeat area, right? So that's what we're doing here. Now, with this specific style, there are certain things you can do with a particular formula called the clave, not to be confused with the actual instrument. But this is a concept that makes syncopation a lot easier starting out so that you don't have to think so hard about it. The formula for a clave is 2 plus 3 or 3 plus 2. So we're trying to get 5 sounds across 4 beats. So if I have 4 clicks, in the first 2 clicks, I want to do 2 sounds. In the second 2 clicks, I want to create 3 sounds. So if I were to demonstrate that, here's one such example. I might have 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Here is a different way I could use the same formula. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Here's a different way. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Any way you look at it, I'm getting 5 sounds in there. I could flip that and do 3 plus 2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, which is what I did here in my clave percussion instrument. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And then what I did with my other percussion instruments is I really just played around with them and played with some rhythms and tried to make them all different and layer them in. So if I were perhaps to include just percussion and layer them in, here is what it would sound like with just a clave, and I'll layer other instruments in. So here's the clave. Here's my conga. Here's my shakeré. And finally, here's my cajon. So that's my percussion section. Now I want to take that and I want to add some other cool elements. So right now it's got a very African feel because there are a lot of drums. My bass line is going to move a little bit more, and I'm going to up the tempo here because my original tempo is a little bit faster for this song. With the bass line, what is important is that you take a few notes and you create that pattern and you repeat that pattern. So there's a difference to me between having a bunch of notes in an area and having a bunch of sounds in an area. I can have 2 to 3 different notes and create lots of sounds, and that works well here. If I take 8 or 9 notes and I try to make a bunch of sounds with those, it becomes harder to navigate through what we want to do, and it really kind of lends us to overthinking. So my advice is keep it simple. Take 2 or 3 notes, take a second set of 2 or 3 notes, rotate in between them. And that's what I did here. I still have that syncopated feel. You hear how not every note is lining up exactly with the beat. And then I can add some other fun things. Where the bass line is concerned, that is pretty much it. And so, again, a word of caution is to keep that as simple as possible because what you're adding next is intended to fill out these sounds. And your bass doesn't necessarily serve that purpose. Your bass really serves to help accentuate that groove that we're feeling. We have our bass. If we add that to our percussion, now we're starting to cook a little bit. Your next element here when you're dealing with instruments is adding something that is chordal in nature. This can be a ukulele, this can be a guitar, this could be a banjo, this could be a piano. Anything that's going to have notes that are sustained and you can comfortably play more than one note at the same time. There are other instruments that are not string or keyboard instruments that you could probably get away with when you're composing these things, but this is the standard typically. And culturally and regionally, it's got more of a folk integration when it comes to the style. So we want to stay inspired and as true to the style as possible. But again, if you're doing something that's out of the box, feel free to explore other instruments. In this case, I've picked 2 guitars. One of the guitars has been outlining chords. You can do as many of these as you like. But the job here is to make sure that we have something You can do any number of these you like, but the job here is to make sure that sounds are sustained and that we have some nice chord structure. Here it is. By itself, now if I add that to everything else, now we have even more influence. And then from here, you have other options. If you're wanting something more ambient and you don't need a melody, this works really well. Add another instrument that maybe has a different strumming pattern or a different rhythm pattern than what you initially established. You could add another instrument that has a melody that sort of complements what you've added to already, or you could have another guitar that also does something that's more melodic. You have a lot of options here. I elected to use the same instrument, but maybe instead of doing chords, add something that has a little bit more movement. When I went about doing this, I stuck to the notes in my major scale, and that is the other part of this that we need to be aware of. When I am working in this style, notes in the major scale work beautifully. You don't have to deviate. You don't have to get really whimsical or avant-garde. This works. If you know the Ionian scale mode as a guitarist, it's the same thing. So you can use those notes to inspire a melody. So that's what I did here. I'm going to go ahead and add it to this guitar and percussion and let you listen to what is going on. Now, if I were to edit and mix and master and do all those things, this could work as a standalone excerpt if I'm just wanting something that's creating a vibe. Now, we can take it a step further, and I did just a little bit. Know that that right there could suffice. And then you could add a few of your own little sound effects or your own reverb factors or whatever you like to use in your own compositions and make that special. Here, I decided to add just one more instrument, and that, in my case, is the marimba. Now, I would have preferred steel drums because that is a signature instrument in this style. But, understandably, there aren't a bunch of steel drum VST packs just lying around. And so, most DAWs will have marimba or some sort of percussion mallet instrument built into it. Use those and just have fun with that. If you are a percussionist or just are really familiar with percussion life, you can go so far as to figure out what kind of mallet you want to use, whether you want something with a cloth. I didn't get that far. But when I'm writing for marimba, I will say a couple things for those of you who might decide to do this. Something like this works really well when you are writing a melody in octaves. So not just a single line, one octave sort of melody. Double it down the octave or double it an octave above. If you are big into music theory, working with thirds as harmony works really well. And then adding special techniques like rolls help just add to the ambiance of this piece. So, by itself, just to give you a little bit of context, there are your rolls, and it's in octaves. And then we put it all together. So now I have all my elements here. I have my percussion with syncopated rhythms. I have a bass line that has a simple, repeated syncopated pattern. I have chordal instruments that help fill out the sound and help create sustained sounds and add to the overall vibe. And then I have some other instruments that are more or less the cherry on top, but they really help elevate the piece to the next level. So what do we get when we put it all together? Well, we get this. And there you have it. All of a sudden, we have a Caribbean-inspired piece that we can take to any level or area that's appropriate and help create a vibe for someone creating a game that aligns with your music. Thank you so much for watching this video. This is my second YouTube video that I've ever made. So if you like what you're seeing and you think that more things like this are helpful, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, like the video, maybe leave a comment below about what region of the world we can explore next together. If you want to check out more of what I do, you can check out the link below the video or in the YouTube channel bio. There's a link tree there as well. I really enjoyed making this video. I enjoy world music. I enjoy integrating it into video game music. And my hope is that you find some usefulness and maybe a little joy out of this as well. So there will be another installment next month. And until then, see you at the next song.